Go ahead.
All right, we're excited to have Melanie Asher is our January Spotlight speaker today. Melanie is an international author and national speaker who is passionate about creating your unforgettable brand. Melanie Asher, MBA moves brands from just marketing into your operations of your business. With over a decade of experience as a CMO, she has worked with businesses ranging from startups to international companies. Melanie speaks and consults with companies on the secret of achieving loyalty through an unforgettable brand experience and why this is actually what makes or breaks a company's ability to achieve loyalty. Melanie is the president of Omicle, where she helps companies develop their own brand experience and to achieve the customer loyalty, market share, and the profitability they deserve. Her clients have won Best Place to Work and Most Innovative awards and have been featured in national magazines. She is also the author of 3 culture-driven books. She lives in the Pacific Northwest with her 2 children, a 4-legged cat and a 2-legged son. Melanie also loves to hike, experiment in the kitchen, and dance. In Melanie's 20-minute talk, she will share mastering the social media experience. The enigma of social media is a part of your marketing strategy, but how do you use it? The presentation focuses on the difference between marketing to your customers versus their search engines need to get on page 1 and how to bring the two together to integrate social media into your existing strategy and increase your bottom line. Join me in welcoming Melanie Asher to share with us today, and also as I remind her to start her speaker timer. Welcome, Melanie.
Alrighty, thank you. Can somebody make me a co-host so I can share my screen?
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Missed that step. Okay, you should be good now.
Nope.
Not yet?
So fun little tidbit of useless information for you guys while we're getting this figured out. My company name is Omicle, and Omicle is actually a Phoenician goddess who is a parallel meaning to the phoenix. So it means circle of life. And I think it was my brother. I forget who it was. But in talking about my company name, when I first came up with it about 20 years ago, he goes, "Oh, I just thought you misspelled comical." And I was like, "That's brilliant. That is the best way to explain how to say my company name." He thought he was insulting me, and he gave me a lifelong gift of how I can help people say my company name better. So usually when we're live at events, I have my printout and I write across the top that, Omicle rhymes with comical.
Beautiful. We'll never forget it now. Thank you, Melanie. So Melanie, I'm sorry, I had some challenges, but I think you should be able to do it now. There you go.
All righty. So we're going to practice something real quick. My presentations tend to be more along the lines of interactive conversations than traditional presentations. So can everybody give me a thumbs up? Get real up close to your camera and give me a thumbs up. Now, the whole idea of doing this test is that I can actually see you are giving me a thumbs up. Now turn that thumbs up upside down and give me a thumbs down. As I say things throughout this presentation that connect with you or you just do not like, give me that thumbs up or give me the thumbs down. It is okay. You will not offend me. It's done intentionally for a way for us to engage virtually, even though we're not in person. So are we ready to get going? Awesome. That's where we do the thumbs up. Going viral is kind of like the new American dream. For years, the American dream was the house with the white picket fence, and then digital media came along, and now you hear businesses talk about how they want to go viral. They want all these likes and shares and comments because it's easy to be seduced by these numbers, and it's easy to be seduced by what initially looks like free sales on social media, but it doesn't happen that way. Social media is kind of like the age-old saying of, it took me 10 years to become an overnight success. You see the overnight success and initially think, I want to be just like that person. But what you don't know until you start talking with that person is they were at this for 10, 20, 30, 40 years sometimes before they became that overnight success. Now, don't let this discourage you, because social media does not take 10 years to be a success, but there are specific strategies and tactics that can help you become a success faster. Just know that just because you put out a video or a sexy meme today doesn't mean you're going to get another additional $1 million in revenue tomorrow. Okay, so we just kind of talked about this. Numbers never lie, and they also don't tell the whole truth. And the reason I say this is, what is the real value of a comment or a click? We get so seduced by wanting to drive these clicks that we want to drive likes and drive shares. It's like, fabulous, great idea. What value does it have to your business? If you can show me that for every like you get on social media, it directly correlates to $10, $100, or $1,000 in your business, okay, then I 100% buy into your like generating strategy. If not, then I think we need to go back to the drawing board and rethink how we're thinking about social media. So this is the time where I want you to post in the comments or in the chat window what frustrates you the most about social media. I guarantee you cannot offend me. Be honest, be blunt. What frustrates you the most? I will share the fun story while you are doing this of the funniest example that I had during a live presentation. I had this guy who was sitting in the back of the room. He was quiet. He would not talk at all. I even went up to him before the event and tried to have a, normal, hi, how you doing conversation. And he was just quiet, would not talk. And I asked this question, a couple other people answered, and then we kind of got this lull, this silence. And then he stands up and he gets real big and he goes, I hate hashtags. And he screams it. And then he sits down like nothing happened. And I'm, as the speaker and room facilitator, I'm like, and then the whole room busted up laughing because nobody was expecting it. So that is my favorite and most fun example. And then he finally started smiling and laughing himself, and he contributed to the conversation as well. So let me share some of these frustrations. Facebook keeps changing their algorithms. It takes time to keep up with the post, knowing when to post. The time again. Too many people pushing their services. They took away Google Plus. That used to be an easy way for SEO. All of these are valid frustrations, and there are plenty more. We will address some of these today. Others, happy to have a conversation with you outside of this meeting, but thank you for sharing. Okay, we're going to focus our conversation around 3 specific areas of social media: social streamers, megaphone messaging, and mindful mapping. If we were in person, I actually carry streamers with me, and I rig the room so we have a streamer fight. I was unable to come up with a virtual way to do that. So we're going to use our imaginations and we're going to go to a child's birthday party where you as the responsible parent are trying to decorate and make this party the best you can for this child. And the children steal the streamers from you and just throw them around the house. From here, because I always use 3 colors, I use purple, which is my brand color, red, which is my accent color, and white, which is a fabulous accent color. And then what I do is I find somebody who has managed to capture all 3 color streamers. And I go up to them and I say, congratulations, you rule the world. And they're like, whoa, why? So social streamers is an activity to help you realize that it's not about connecting with everyone on social media. Everyone is not your market. The market is not your target customer base. There are some boundaries around who is a good fit for you. Even if you have a product that technically, or a service that technically everybody can use, the reality is not everyone is a good fit. The more you say no, the more valuable you become. And in understanding this different way of thinking about your customer base, it also helps you begin to make the connection as to why the different social media platforms use the different names that they do: fans, followers, and connections. Fans are about people who are familiar with your business. They support your business. Followers, people who are interested in you, but may or may not know much about you. Connections, people that you know through networking events like Exceptional Networks, people that you work with, people that you associate with professionally, friends, people you would go to dinner with, have a glass of wine with. Notice the different names and how the relationships are different. Think of it in terms of a connection spectrum. Each platform, based on the term that they've given these different forms of connection or these different types of interaction, sets the tone for how you are to engage. Facebook calls them friends and limits you at 5,000 friends because that far exceeds the actual community that your brain can wrap its head around and the number of connections your brain can genuinely have a real relationship with. LinkedIn does not have that limit because it's about who you know throughout your professional network. So it is an extremely limited and segmented section. Twitter is kind of like going to Times Square post-COVID and having a party and meeting people on the street and saying, hi, I don't know you, let's chat. You're the naked cowboy. I want my picture with you. That's kind of like what Twitter is. Okay, so keep that in mind as you're choosing who and how you interact with on these different platforms. Now we have megaphone messaging. Megaphone messaging is all about what you say and how you say it. The key that a lot of businesses don't understand is social media platforms are search engines too, which means a lot of what works to get to page 1 on Google works on social media. Now, having said that, each platform has its own algorithm and sorts content differently. So whenever you post online, it's about being bilingual. On one hand, you have to talk for the search engines. And a search engine is nothing more than a piece of technology, meaning zeros and ones. Zeros and ones. Absolutely everything you say and do. Your words, your images, your videos, everything ultimately goes down to zeros and ones from a technology perspective. Now, on the other hand, we've got these weird creatures called people. People do things a little differently. As you're watching me, you're able to watch my facial expressions, hear my vocal variety, and you're going to get a vibe for who I am. whether I gel well with you, or if you're like, yeah, she's not my cup of tea. Regardless, those are your feelings. Those are your emotions. They unconsciously drive how you interact with people. When you engage on social media or anything online, it's about being bilingual, saying things in a way that search engines can sort your content and place it appropriately, and in a way that people want to engage with it. It's kind of like going to a coffee shop, and this is where the whole likes and using the emoticons is super easy from a tech perspective, but it doesn't actually build value. Imagine sitting at your favorite coffee shop, and Cyndi, you're going to be my guinea pig here. You and I are having coffee, and as Cyndi's talking, I sit there and I go, like. Cyndi's going to be like, yeah, she's kind of creepy. I'm going to back away. Same thing applies. From a tech perspective, the likes, the caring emojis, the clapping of the hands, the loves are all really, really good. But from a personal perspective with Cyndi and I, it doesn't do anything. Not at all. So again, if you want to build relationships, if you want to actually take your conversations and take your marketing from just another social media post to growing your business, you need to be bilingual. This is where we communicate with people and we don't talk at them. There's a big difference between marketing speak, AKA a call to action, and everything you do on or between marketing speak and an actual conversation. Remember Cyndi's and my conversation where she talked and I just said like. In reality, what should have happened is she talked a little and then I talked a little. And then she talked a little again and then I talked a little again. It's called a conversation. Just invented, don't worry, you're the first to hear about it. So you get to lead the way in how we start conversations and how we continue conversations. Oh, and by the way, that is how you communicate with people. So let's say you find an article online that you really like, no matter what platform you're on, and you are going to take that initiative and you are not going to push that like button. You're going to write a comment. Yes, you are. And you're going to share it. So guess what you're going to do? You're going to use a very simple 3-step formula to help you do this. Step 1, you are going to agree with something in the article. Notice I am saying in the article or in the video, not in the title. There's a difference. Then you are going to respectfully disagree, meaning you're going to say, I can see how you think this, but in my experience, this is reality. And then you're going to ask a question or offer another viewpoint. Have you considered this? Or what are your thoughts on that? If you are not starting or continuing a conversation online, you're actually wasting your time. And I guarantee you that the more conversations that you continue, the faster you will grow your brand, the faster you will build relationships. And it is possible to build multiple relationships at a single time. Okay, mindful mapping. We are getting ready to wrap up. This pillar focuses on what you're going to do and how you are going to do it. Oh, and let's not forget the most important aspect of it is the goals that you wish to accomplish. Be intentional and no bandwagon jumping. So I normally go into detail about, goals and specific tools and what are you willing to commit to. And while all of this is still relevant from a social media perspective and an overall marketing strategy, I want to take some time and throw in the reality of current events today. With everything that has happened in the first 12 days of 2021, We can have our social media strategy, and that's fabulous. You'll get your content out there, you'll push, great. There's a few elements that are factoring into your social media engagement that were not previously factored in. One of them is people choosing to boycott certain platforms or all platforms. And the choice to boycott is usually based on one of two scenarios. One, political alignment, or two, the new awareness of privacy. And I use the term awareness because there is nothing new today that is being shared between these platforms that wasn't being shared before. The difference is the media is covering it. That is the difference. If you fall into the category of considering leaving social media for this, I invite you to consider that leaving Facebook doesn't make a difference. Leaving Twitter doesn't make a difference. If you've been on the platforms for more than 6 months, they already have your information. And it's not just about leaving Facebook or Instagram. It's Facebook, Instagram, Google, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon. If you can truly cut yourself off of all of those platforms, oh, and by the way, you have to get rid of your phone too, then it's a conversation we have. Otherwise, it doesn't make a difference. So factor this in as you're building your strategy and realize that who was on your market or in your target market may not be on the platforms anymore. And this is where it's always has been a, if you've worked with me at all or seen me during any of my presentations, you'll know that I've said from the beginning, own your data, own your data, own your data. Now you have to own your data. What'll be interesting to see is as the year plays out, and I believe we have 4 minutes left if I'm timing correctly, so I will try to wrap up in 2.5, is we're going to see a shift in who is on what platform and how they are engaging. So I can give you the overall structure for how to think about building a social media campaign. But ultimately, if you want to have success online or off, it goes back to your brand, what you stand for, and the core of how you are communicating that and working with that with your clients and also market. Okay, we are wrapping up. So any questions or comments, I'm happy to address them. Thank you very much for your time. Here's some testimonials and comments that I've gotten.
Yes, thank you, Melanie. Oh my goodness, so much good information and just very time sensitive with what's going on right now. So I'd like, what we'd like to do now is, anyone want to share an epiphany or an aha or something that they're going to implement into their business that Melanie shared that's inspired them? So feel free to unmute yourself and just share quickly your takeaways or ahas that you have. We are going to offer an opportunity for Q&A. Melanie's going to be part of our conversation to connect on February 3rd, and this is really a teaser, this talk, and we're going to talk about LinkedIn and Facebook at length and give you an opportunity for even a deeper dive with the skill shops. So let's keep this at a light note. What things have she shared that you're going to implement or isn't a great aha for you right now? Feel free to unmute yourself.
I liked how Melanie was talking about when she was saying, commenting on the articles, either agree, disagree, or ask a question or give a viewpoint. And she mentioned continuing the conversation, which is definitely what I talk about with networking, and that's networking online effectively, or don't bother. I loved what you said about that. That was a good aha. It's like play or don't play, but don't waste your time otherwise. So thank you.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So anybody else, any other insights or ahas from that you think you're going to be able to noodle on a little bit here? Chuck, is your hand up? Can't tell. Oh, you're holding your phone. Judy.
I like the part where she said posts should be conversational. And I never thought about that before, because if I was meeting somebody face to face, I would certainly be talking differently than I was on Facebook or whatever. But I just realized with this that when I am on Facebook or another social media, it should be exactly like I'm talking to that person face to face. Yeah.
You just got a thumbs up there from Melanie. Melanie, I love that you said, because, you know, my philosophy in networking one-on-one and, you know, primarily live events and now virtual is to be able to build relationships one at a time. And I believe that, but you said something that kind of gave me a different perspective, because on social media, we can do it at a bigger level. But don't you think the foundation for that is still building those, you know, at some point, taking it offline and being able to really connect, discover, listen, contribute, follow up, and nurture? So
I agree with that. The intention is always to build the individual relationship. But in all honesty, if you're doing that right, if your engagement is right on social media, where you're continuing conversations, what ends up happening is you unintentionally, and usually unbeknownst to you until later, is you're building relationships with other people who are watching your engagement. I have landed clients with people who I've never engaged with online, but simply because of how I have engaged with other people, it built my credibility with them that they called me and only me.
yes, that is a great point, because people are watching.
Yes.
People are watching, even if they're not engaging with you, and they are, there's an assessment, you know, that's being made. So that's beautiful. So thank you very much. We're going to go ahead, and if you can stop share, and I'm going to